What does a badliner have in common with a supercar? This is something I can't buy, and this is my car. I'm on a mission to transform my wreck into something cooler than this Lamborghini without any help in my home garage. Following my plan, I managed to make the car straight again, I made a very unusual wheel choice, and I made two amazing one-off custom bumpers out of scrap. In this episode, I'm taking a big risk attempting to spray the car with a paint that I've never used before, and with all the unexpected challenges that I'm facing, will it turn out incredible or a complete disaster? Stick around and let's find out. But first I need to blank this hole, because normally the antenna, it sits down here, and then when you put the ignition on it just comes up like, I don't know, something like that. It really dates the car. I think it just looks horrible. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just gonna grind this a bit, make a patch, weld it in, filler, and then we're pretty much done for the acrylic filler. I used the leftover from the wheel arch to cut out a small piece, then I've placed it on the other side and I've pressed it against the panel. With a metal pick that has a really hard and sharp tip, I was able to scratch the metal to have an accurate mark. I have a mark. I'll cut this out and see how it goes. Then I've trimmed the piece with the angle grinder until I was close to the mark. After that, I've installed the 80 grip flap disc and I grinded the piece until I had my metal patch. Now we should be very close, actually. And now that the new part fits perfectly, I'm grinding the panel and the patch down to bare metal so I can easily weld them together. I took the welder out. There it is, my old welder. Whoo! This is called a MIG welder. You have the spool of wire over here that feeds through the hose all the way to the gun, and then you have protective gas. And when you put this down, the gas and the wire feeds all the way to the nozzle, and when you pull the trigger, both of them are coming out, and the gas makes a bubble that protects the weld. To make my work a bit easier, I'm using a small magnet on the other side to keep the patch aligned to the panel, and now I'm just putting a few tack welds. With the two parts stacked together, I'm welding them one tack at a time to prevent the panel of overheating and causing it to warp. I could definitely use a new welder, but mine did the job and the hole for the antenna is no more. To grind the excess welds, I'm using the flap disc because it gets a smooth finish. And if you're new here and like what you see, please subscribe and share this with your car friends, as this project is at least different. With the welds out of the way, I sanded the panel a bit, I'm removing the dust and I'm applying primer to protect the metal. Let it dry, and after I sanded the panel very lightly, I'm degreasing it, and while it was drying I started mixing a small amount of body filler. And now I'm applying the product using a wider spreader, following the radius of the panel to get it as smooth as possible. But before I get the result I want, I should stop because this is starting to set, and when it starts to set, it's not smooth anymore, it becomes like cheesy. I'll show you in a bit. Look, you can still spread it quite nice and smooth. But as this starts to set, you'll see it's not going to be the case anymore, and if you try to make it better, you just make it worse. Just because this starts to set. It gets hot as well, it gets like really hot depending on how much hardener you're putting. Oh, look, there you go. Already the consistency is changed a bit. We'll leave it a bit more. Yeah, there you go, you see? So now if I try to spread it, look how it goes. That would have happened over there, and you don't really want that. So you better just stop, leave it to set, and then once it's set, then you can come and just sand it flat. After it cured, I started to sand it with 400 grit paper on the machine, and I need to constantly check my progress. It doesn't matter that I have gloves, it's just maybe experience. It's just about feeling the surface, if it's flat or not. If I go like this, it's nice, smooth. It's just you need to be very gentle and then try to feel any movements of the finger going up or down. And now it's like this, and it's pretty even, pretty nice, but here I can feel straight away there's still a pit here. So I need to repeat the process of degreasing, let it dry, applying filler, wait for it to cure, and sand the panel with the machine again. So it's still quite not right. I repeat the process, but this time I'm applying a thinner coat of filler that I'm spreading on a bigger area. Now I'm only sanding it by hand using 400 grit paper on a block, and I need to run my hand over the panel and check if it needs any more work. Yeah, and we're good. We're good. You won't even know that there was a hole there. Then I remove the panels to have a better access to paint, and as you can see, there's no sign of structural damage whatsoever. Everything is perfect. So this was definitely badly evaluated. And I've looked under the car as well, and everything is nice and straight. There's no sign of actual structural damage. Next day, a bit of a setback now, but it is what it is. So I'll have to paint this entirely in acrylic. I'll show you why. Yeah, so here it looks like it's nice and flat, but actually, look, this car was resprayed, and this is going to be a massive disaster if I finish the entire car and then this is there. So I have no other choice. Look, it's like all over. I don't know if you can catch that. And now that the body is completely sanded, I can see the bits that still need to be done. Yeah, like small pieces here and there. But overall, the car is surprisingly straight. So I need to mix some filler and carefully find all the imperfections that are still on the car. With the interior sanded and all the imperfections gone, everything is degreased and ready for filler. The rest of the parts I moved them outside since I don't have enough space, and because I want to paint this and this in gloss black, if I don't apply any filler and sand it smooth, the texture of the plastic will show. So fingers crossed everything is gonna be alright, because it is quite late, and usually when it's late I mess up, but I hope I'm not gonna mess up this time, so fingers crossed. I already sanded and degreased the bumpers, and because paint doesn't stick very well on plastic surfaces, I need to use plastic adhesion promoter to allow the following coats to have a stable surface. The acrylic filler is a two-part paint that needs a hardener to set. Also, it is very thick, so I do need to reduce it as well. I'm using an electronic scale to get the ratios right, and I'm mixing it using a very advanced mixing stick. I need to filter it to make sure that I don't have any debris inside the spray gun, and I'm all set. Now I need to adjust the volume, pattern and pressure of the gun, and I started with a quarter panel. I like to spray the filler on a very low pressure in medium to thick coats in a small pattern. I need to turn the bumper to apply a nice thick coat everywhere to make sure that I cover completely the texture of the plastic and that I have enough product when I need to sand it smooth. I'm spraying the door that has all those scratches, and since the rear quarter panels were off, the car was the perfect stand to paint the rear bumper. Because I've decided to paint the car not with automotive paint, I'm going to use this, which is bedliner paint, and it's quite different because it leaves a very rough texture. This is the paint, this is the hardener. Oh, it's still liquid, which is good because I have this for quite a few years now. This seems to be alright, so if I paint the insides now, then I can put the panels back, and then when the panels are back, I can align everything to make sure that it's super straight, and then just apply the final coat. I could do it technically in stages, but I would rather just mix one batch of paint and just apply it in one go, so that I avoid any kind of difference in shades, because I haven't painted with this. I don't know how easy it is. People say that it's quite easy, but as you can see, look, mine is quite old, so I don't really know what to expect. But yeah, I'll see how it goes. Normally this paint is applied with a Schutz gun, which has a very big nozzle, and depending on your settings and technique you get different finishes. But I'm reducing this with thinner to the maximum, because I need the paint to be fluid enough to pass through the nozzle of my normal gun that I'm using. And finally I'm applying the paint to the interiors. Most of these parts I will never see when it's finished, but it will show as soon as I open something on this car. So I need to put in the extra effort because it is as important as painting the exterior. After I came out of the darkness like Batman. What I was trying to say is, wow, this is how it turned out now, which I have mixed feelings because maybe I was expecting the color to be different, but then again I knew exactly how this color is, and I think this is why it's gonna work so well with the gloss black and everything else, because I need to break this green, otherwise it's gonna look like an army car, and I really do not want that. So here I sprayed only a bit because when the engine is coming out I'm gonna respray everything else. The filler on the door turned out nice and even. So the bumper now, I think it's really good. I still have a few spots that are not perfect, but I knew that. That's why I've painted this in the first place. When everything is like a camouflage, it's very difficult to figure out what's what. But by having everything in one color, it's just so much easier to spot the problems. And now it's just gonna be a matter of sanding it down, sanding it smooth. And then once that is done, hopefully tomorrow, I can already apply some paint as well. A few hours later. Let's put some lights on. And let's see what I've done. There are parts where I haven't applied it as good as I would have liked to, but even so, I have covered the interiors with color better than the factory did. Well, I think a good lesson for this would be you need very good lighting to be able to apply a very even coat. But I think we're good. I'm gonna install everything back, all the panels, and then we'll carry on with the rest. And because I had to protect the body panels from the paint and my garage is not very big, I placed them overnight outside under a tree. And look at all the resin. All the resin in the world is here. So yeah, it's just, it is what it is. So ever since I started this, my gun got a piece of plastic in it, and I don't know how. The mixing cup exploded. I didn't apply evenly the paint. Now the resin is on, so I wonder what's next. Hopefully nothing more, because I need some results like quick. So I have no other choice and I need to get rid of the resin from the panels. To make my work easier, I've installed them back on the car, and since I'm not going to remove them anymore, I need to make sure that they're perfectly aligned. With the panels secured on the car, I started sanding them, and since it took me the entire day to get rid of the resin, I think I'm gonna paint the bumpers black now. I've used 400 grit paper to sand the bumpers, and I started painting them quickly as it was very late and the sun was already setting. Even though I worked a lot, I finished the day with a bitter taste that another day went to waste. And with the weekend over, I was back in the garage only the next evening. I started degreasing the car with a special low-length cloth and silicone remover. And with the car ready, I need to make a move because it's very late, and the problem is I don't have lights on this side, so I need to start painting because this is the side that I won't see, and yeah, I don't want to respray it, so I better just crack on. And this is the last time when we're gonna see the car like this, and hopefully next time it's gonna have color and it's gonna look a million times better. Now I need to mix the paint, but just have a look how thick it is. It's like a marmalade. But the cool thing about this paint is that you can actually thin it down. Now this is reduced at 30%, and this is where I'm gonna stop. First I painted the edges, but as soon as I started to paint the panels and I needed to increase the spraying pattern, I realized that my spray gun was really tired, but the paint was already mixed, so I had no other choice but to carry on and hope for the best. After I applied a thin coat on the entire body, I moved on to spray the bumpers that I brought inside since the sun has gone down in the meantime. When I finished to spray the last part of the car, the first part was already dry enough to carry on without stopping. For the following coats, I changed the settings and I painted the Raptor much thicker, and I tried to spray it in a cross pattern to minimize the risk of having a zebra effect. After I finished to paint the car, I just need to clean the spray gun and I can stop to see how it looks. So first thought, I just finished applying the paint on the car, and I don't know. I left the garage disappointed. I didn't really like how it looked, but when I saw it this morning, it turned out really good. I'm starting to get really excited about this. And now that the car is sprayed and the paint is already dry, I can install things back on the car and start working to transform the wheels as well. But I'll do all of that in the next episode, so make sure that you click on the screen right now and watch this video here. My name is Camille, thank you for watching, I'll see you next time.